Hi everybody, Bird Brown here. So with the spooky season approaching quickly, I just wanted to remind everybody and kind of coax everybody to, if you're going to preserve your pumpkins, please try and refrain from using bleach.
Snowbird Brown always seemed unstoppable until doctors found something that changed everything. Today, we're breaking down the emotional journey, the surgeries, the recovery, and the truth behind her shocking cancer scare. Amora Snowbird Brown, the soft-spoken, animal-loving daughter viewers watched grow up on Discovery Channel's long-running series Alaskan Bush People, found herself at the center of a medical drama that stunned fans and reshaped her family's recent storyline. What began as routine pain and swelling turned on camera and off into a frightening race to diagnosis, surgery, and a difficult set of decisions about her future fertility and cancer risk. This is the story of what happened to Snowbird Brown, how her family rallied around her, and what her experience reveals about the collision between reality TV and real-life medical crises. The moment it began. An emergency and a shocking discovery. Snowbird's health emergency unfolded in front of viewers during Alaskan Bush People's later seasons, when production and storylines shifted to cover more of the family's private struggles. During season 14, producers captured a tense moment. Snowbird was rushed to the hospital after experiencing severe abdominal pain and swelling. Doctors performed imaging and delivered news that immediately triggered alarm. She had large ovarian masses that required urgent attention. That discovery, shown in episodes and later discussed on social media, was the start of a months-long medical odyssey that the family did not hide from viewers. What made the situation particularly unsettling was the size and nature of the growths. Reporting and coverage that followed the televised episodes said Snowbird's medical team removed multiple tumors from her ovaries, one reported to weigh roughly 8 pounds and another about 4 pounds, and pathology identified them as borderline ovarian tumors, not clearly invasive cancer, but not entirely benign either. These kinds of tumors are often labeled of low malignant potential, meaning they can sometimes behave more aggressively and require close follow-up and, in some cases, additional surgery. Surgery and the wrenching choice about fertility. The gravity of Snowbird's diagnosis forced clinicians to lay out options: remove the masses alone and preserve reproductive organs, or perform a more definitive procedure, a hysterectomy, to eliminate the risk of future ovarian disease. On the show and on social media updates, the family discussed the medical recommendation that a hysterectomy would be the most certain way to prevent recurrence, but that path would also permanently end Snowbird's ability to bear children. The dilemma, choosing safety versus the chance of future motherhood, played out emotionally on camera, with family members visibly torn and Snowbird herself described as frightened but determined to follow doctors' advice. Experts who spoke about borderline ovarian tumors in coverage emphasized that treatment decisions hinge on a mix of pathology results, the patient's age and reproductive goals, and the tumor's behavior under the microscope. For a young woman like Snowbird, fertility preservation is an especially fraught consideration. Physicians often try to conserve reproductive organs, if safe, but when the pathology raises concerns about malignancy or the tumors are large and symptomatic, more aggressive surgery can be recommended. That clinical nuance helps explain why Snowbird faced such a wrenching choice. Snowbird's sisters and brothers, the Browns, have always framed themselves as a tight-knit clan, became central figures in the story. Rain and Ami, Snowbird's mother, were documented by the show and on social media, standing with her before and after surgery. Ami, who is herself a cancer survivor, was present emotionally and publicly as Snowbird navigated recovery. In an Instagram post that many outlets picked up, Snowbird marked the anniversary of her operation, praising her family and noting that while the fight isn't over yet, faith and sibling support had been crucial to getting through the immediate crisis. Those candid moments, part personal post and part content for a reality television audience, gave fans both comfort and a sense of intimate access to a private medical battle. Ami's own cancer history: she fought stage 3 lung cancer years earlier and went into remission after aggressive treatment, added a poignant echo to Snowbird's scare. The family has repeatedly returned to the subject of Ami's survival as a source of hope, and Ami's presence at Snowbird's side served as a reminder of the broader ongoing health struggles the Browns have faced over the past decade. More recently, Ami's health again became a media story when she experienced breathing issues and a hospitalization, underscoring how medical emergencies have shaped the family narrative beyond a single episode. What borderline means and what it didn't mean for Snowbird.
It is not synonymous with aggressive ovarian cancer, but it is also not a clearly harmless cyst. Borderline tumors are a heterogeneous group. Some behave almost like benign growths, while others have a higher risk of recurrence or spread. That uncertainty changes how surgeons and patients choose to move forward. Conservative surgery might be acceptable for many, but when tumors are large, symptomatic, or raise suspicion on pathology, removing more tissue can be the safer medical route. The coverage of Snowbird's case repeatedly stressed that clinicians were acting with precaution, both to treat what was present and to reduce the chance of a future, more dangerous diagnosis. For viewers, the immediacy of seeing Snowbird in the hospital and later in recovery made the abstract medical language tangible. It also illustrated the emotional cost of clinical ambiguity. The doctor's caution that we can't be 100% sure until full pathology is analyzed leaves patients in a limbo that's stressful in its own right, especially for someone young and in the public eye. After the operation, recovery, monitoring, and life beyond the camera. Following the surgery, Snowbird's public posts and family updates suggested a focus on recovery and monitoring. Borderline tumors require follow-up imaging and exams to watch for recurrence, monitoring that can last years. Snowbird's messages have been cautiously optimistic, grateful for support, mindful that more checkups lie ahead, and determined to get back to everyday life with her animals and family. Those updates have reassured many fans who feared the worst, but also reminded viewers that recovery from major surgery is a process, not an instant cure. The way the Browns handled those updates, blending private posts, family comments, and televised moments, also highlights how reality TV families now navigate health narratives. For many cast members, showing vulnerability can deepen audience attachment and drive conversation. For others, it is a necessary transparency when a television platform documents real illness. In Snowbird's case, the openness appears to have helped galvanize fan support and, according to several reports, brought real-world offers of help and compassion from viewers. Worry, misinformation, and empathy. As with any health scare involving a public figure, Snowbird's case generated an online torrent of reaction, heartfelt messages, speculation, conspiracy theories, and outright misinformation. Some tabloid threads and rumor posts magnified the drama. Others helped spread verified updates when family members posted themselves. The Browns' own use of Instagram and occasional interviews helped correct inaccuracies and remind followers to defer to medical statements rather than hearsay. But the episode was also a cautionary example of how quickly private health information can be reshared and sensationalized, often with little nuance. Fan groups lamented rumors and circulated older posts as though they were current. At the same time, many fans used comments and direct messages to send encouragement. That push and pull, supportive empathy mixed with invasive curiosity, is typical of reality TV fandoms and was on vivid display in Snowbird's health arc. Medical professionals who explain borderline ovarian tumors urge a measured approach, know the pathology, discuss reproductive goals openly with the care team, and weigh the risks of recurrence against the impact of more radical surgery. For young patients wishing to preserve fertility, options such as conservative surgery with close monitoring or fertility preservation techniques prior to more definitive surgery can sometimes be explored. But when tumors are large, symptomatic, or pathology indicates higher risk, a hysterectomy can be recommended as the safest long-term route. Snowbird's case embodied that same conversation many women face: how to balance immediate health needs with hopes for the future. Snowbird Brown's cancer scare resonates for several reasons. First, It humanizes a young woman who has been known to fans primarily for her connection to animals and the outdoors. We saw a private, frightened person forced into a medical system she did not expect to navigate publicly. Second, the story underscores the sometimes blunt overlap between entertainment and healthcare. Producers capture real emergencies, viewers consume them, and the line between documentation and exploitation can feel thin. Finally, it amplifies an important public health point. Ovarian and gynecologic tumors can present in young women, sometimes with non-specific symptoms. Awareness, timely medical evaluation, and informed decision-making are crucial. As of the last family and media updates, Snowbird was in recovery and attending follow-up appointments. Her social media posts mark progress, but also a sober acknowledgement that more monitoring lies ahead. Amy Brown's own recent hospitalization reminded fans that the Browns' health concerns extend beyond a single episode and that the family has navigated serious illness before. For viewers who care about the Browns as more than a reality TV ensemble, Snowbird's case was a reminder that the cameras can catch a moment in time, but healing and uncertainty often continue long after an episode ends. Snowbird Brown's experience, a terrifying discovery, a brave surgical recovery, and a family's public support is at once intensely personal and broadly instructive. It emphasizes the importance of early medical attention when symptoms are unusual, the complexity of treatment choices when cancer risk is unclear, and the power of family during crisis. It also raises questions about how reality programming frames real medical events and how audiences should consume those stories responsibly, with empathy, skepticism of rumors, and respect for the individual's ongoing privacy. For Snowbird, the road forward is the routine many patients know well: follow-up scans, checkups, and crucially, time. For her family and fans, the hope is for more quiet updates of steady recovery and, when she's ready, a return to the animals and the life that has defined her since she first appeared on television. Sources and further reading. Reporting on Snowbird's hospitalization and surgery as covered in season episodes and later reports. Interviews, family Instagram posts, and coverage in outlets that followed the Browns' health developments. Although Alaskan bush people captured many raw moments from Snowbird's medical journey, family insiders and fans noted that what aired on television was likely only a fraction of the emotional weight she carried. Snowbird has always been a private, soft-spoken member of the Brown family. She is not a constant poster on social media, unlike some of her siblings, and tends to stay out of the spotlight unless the show requires it.
So when she suddenly became the center of concern, viewers saw a different side of her: vulnerable, scared, and stripped of the freedom she was used to in the wilderness. Life in the bush, even with the cameras rolling, allowed her a sense of independence and isolation. Hospital walls, fluorescent lights, and long discussions with doctors were the exact opposite. Family watchers who have followed the Browns for years pointed out that Snowbird's fear was not just about the surgery, it was about identity. She has always said she prefers taking care of animals over being around people. Suddenly, she had to rely on strangers in scrubs, large medical teams, and a world she was unfamiliar with. For a young woman raised in the Alaskan wild, surrounded by mountains, rivers, and isolation, modern medicine can feel like a different planet. Fans feared the worst because the Browns had faced tragedy before. Part of the reason Snowbird's diagnosis sparked widespread worry is history. The Brown family has experienced devastating medical news in the past. Amy's lung cancer nearly took her life. The family relocated from Alaska to the lower 48, partly because she needed major treatment and access to specialists. Before that, patriarch Billy Brown battled heart issues for years, something the show addressed multiple times. After his sudden passing in 2021, fans became even more sensitive to any Brown family health story. Snowbird's emergency brought back painful memories for viewers and for her family. While Billy was not physically present during Snowbird's surgery, his absence was deeply felt. Amy and the children have often said that Billy was the glue that held everyone together, especially during crises.
Snowbird's health scare was the first major hospitalization the family faced without him. Knowing he wasn't there to comfort or reassure her made the situation emotionally heavier for fans who have watched this family for over a decade. How the scare changed Snowbird's lifestyle. After surgery, producers documented her attempts to get back to normal life. But normal now looked different. Doctors advised that she would need regular monitoring for years. That meant frequent checkups, scans, and more time around hospitals than she ever imagined. Fans noticed that the family continued to split time between remote living and easier-access towns, partly because the Browns now needed to think about long-term health, not just survival off the land. Snowbird also had to adjust physically. Her recovery was slow and painful. For someone who often carried animal feed, hauled gear, climbed steep terrain, and lived in rugged conditions, being told to rest and avoid physical strain was a massive shift. Recovery also deepened her bond with Rain and Amy. Rain took on caretaking responsibilities, driving her to appointments, watching over her, and staying by her side. The sisters have always been close, but this experience appeared to strengthen that connection publicly and privately. Fans routinely comment that Snowbird brings out Rain's tender, protective side, a side that the show hasn't always focused on before. Even though she survived surgery and remains under monitoring, fans know borderline ovarian tumors are unpredictable. Some never return, others come back years later, sometimes requiring more drastic treatment. That's why many viewers remain anxious. They pay attention to every social post, every update, every appearance. If Snowbird disappears from the show temporarily, rumors explode online. Some assume she's quietly battling complications. Others believe she's living peacefully off camera. The truth is somewhere in between. Snowbird has always been private, and she does not post unless she wants to. Silence isn't a sign of relapse. Sometimes it's simply her personality. How the show handled her diagnosis. Reality TV walks a fine line. On one hand, the show gave Snowbird a platform to tell her story, warn others, and show the importance of listening to your body when something feels wrong. Many viewers have said her experience encouraged them to get checkups or seek care for symptoms they were ignoring. But there is also the uncomfortable reality that medical emergencies create compelling TV. The surgery storyline increased episode tension, social media traction, and viewership. Some fans felt the network leaned too heavily into dramatic editing, music, cliffhangers, hospital footage, turning a real young woman's fear into entertainment beats. Others argued that the Browns have always shown real life, and hiding the struggle would have been dishonest. In the end, whether the show helped or exploited Snowbird's pain depends on how each viewer sees reality television as a genre. Snowbird's message to fans. Despite being shy with the public, Snowbird has shared one message repeatedly: gratitude. She has thanked fans for their prayers, encouragement, and kindness. She has said that knowing people cared gave her strength during moments when she felt terrified and alone. She also encouraged women, especially young women, to not dismiss abdominal pain, swelling, or changes in their body. Doctors often say ovarian tumors are a silent disease. Symptoms are vague or easy to ignore. Snowbird hopes her story makes someone, somewhere, listen to their body sooner. Snowbird is young. She has time to heal, time to monitor, and time to figure out the next chapter of her life. Right now, she is focused on staying healthy, keeping up with follow-up scans, spending time with family, caring for the animals she loves so much, slowly rebuilding strength after surgery. Whether she returns to full-time filming or chooses a quieter life remains to be seen. Many fans believe the experience changed her, making her more cautious and more protective of her privacy. Others think the scare will inspire her to share more openly with viewers going forward. Snowbird Brown's journey is far from over. Her scare was not just a dramatic episode, it was a life-changing event that will shape her future. Snowbird's medical crisis tells a bigger story than a single diagnosis. It's about the reality behind reality TV, a young woman dealing with a terrifying choice, a family still healing from loss, and the importance of early detection. While many people watch Alaskan bush people for wilderness, adventure, and bush living, Snowbird's story pulled the curtain back on something every family, famous or not, understands. Illness does not care where you live, how tough you are, or how many cameras are watching. Her strength, quiet, steady, and humble, resonated with viewers worldwide. And now fans wait, hoping that every new update is another step toward a full recovery.